What's up, gamers? Welcome to episode 30 of the Busted Buttons video game podcast. Hard to believe we're already at 30 episodes. I feel like we're growing up a little bit here.
Yep.
But I'm excited to jump into this week's episode. There's been a lot of huge gaming news, like it seems like there is every single week right now as we get closer to the releases of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and Series S. So today we're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 prices and the release date. We're going to be talking about Microsoft's huge acquisition of ZeniMax, which is the parent company of Bethesda Game Works. We're going to talk about the announcement of the Game Awards 2020. And then we're actually going to take a break from talking about news for a second and spend a little bit of time talking about a gameplay feature that Hick has mentioned to me.
Yep.
And that's kind of when games slow down and really let you take in the scenery a little bit. Now, I am going to say before we jump into this, last episode we talked about Mario 64. I've had an absolute blast playing Mario 64 on the Mario 3D All-Stars. I gotta get that spat out eventually. You jumped right in with
Yep.
Sunshine, didn't you? How have you been enjoying it so far?
Well, here it was. I was thinking to myself during the intro, thank God we're not talking about Mario on this podcast. Because it went Mario Kart, Mario 35th anniversary, and then last episode was Super Mario 64. And then here you are, not knowing you're going to do it. The first thing you ask me is about Mario. But anyways, I'm playing Sunshine. I am not going to lie, man. I struggled at first with that game. Because the mechanics are different than other Mario games. Because you have that jetpack. I've already forgot the name of the character that, is controlling it or whatever. But
I couldn't tell you. I haven't played it yet.
Your jumps are different. Like, your moves are a little bit different. And, I've really struggled at that. And then also the Nintendo Pro Controller, I think it's called. It's called Pro Controller, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I blanked on that for a second. But anyways.
Because we've never blanked on something in this podcast.
I've not even played on the gamepad yet or portable. But the controller is so sensitive, at least for that game. So, man, I was jumping over things. I was running past things. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the best gamer in the world. But I also know that there's certain points where I don't suck that bad. And that was one of those points where I was like, I'm jumping over things. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I don't suck this bad video game. So, really struggle on the controls at the beginning. I'm starting to get them down a little bit more. I'm starting to get more used to the water jetpack. Like I said, don't remember the name of the character, but kind of getting used to using that. It's just the mechanics. It's definitely a Mario game. The worlds look like a Mario game, but the mechanics are really different from past Mario games. And I think that might be why Sunshine gets a bad rap sometimes.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people might have started it, but didn't get very far because it is frustrating. It is difficult, but you know what? I'm pushing through. I'm starting to finally enjoy it, not getting so upset. But, I'm excited to finish off the rest of the game. Then I'm going to go to Galaxy probably, then Super Mario 64. But what are you going to play next?
Well, I'm probably going to get back to The Last of Us finally. I mean, I'm about to beat Bowser. I still have not finished The Last of Us Part 2. I actually probably haven't even touched it in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So it's going to take me a minute. I'm going to die a few times trying to get back to the controls. But I'm excited to jump in it. Then I've got Ghost of Tsushima down the road. Then I want to knock out the other two Mario games.
We're talking about that game in this episode.
So I'm excited. I had to play Mario 64 though as part of the collection. Just the nostalgia. It's such a great game. We got into all that last week, but enough.
Let's quit
about
talking
Mario.
Quit talking about Mario.
So the big news. There's been a lot of big news here recently, but we finally Sony released the launch date and the prices for the PlayStation 5. We got a launch date of November 12th, which a little surprisingly was a couple of days after the launch of the Xbox Series X. The prices, though, are looking pretty appealing. I got to say, $4.99 for the disc drive version and $3.99 for digital. So kind of what stood out to you the most on the announcements for the PlayStation 5 launch details?
Well, first of all, releasing a couple days later, I don't mind that. You don't want to release on the same day as the Xbox. That's just going to cause chaos. And if you remember last generation, they actually released a week apart. I don't remember. I want to say the Xbox was first, but I don't exactly remember. So doing it 2 days later, that doesn't really bother me at all. I understand it. You don't want to launch the same day. That's too much chaos, man. That's too much gaming adrenaline going on in the world. The world's just going to explode because too many people are going to be excited. So, I was blown away by the price. I was honestly thinking that the disc drive was going to come in around $5.99 and then the digital was going to come in around $4.99. Only $100 more is what I thought. But, we're talking about a gaming console. That $100 is, a lot of money even to, to everybody. I mean,
it really is,
we are a little more fortunate, but it's still $100 is a lot to us. So I was absolutely blown away on the price. I've been saying all along that I am going to get the digital version because I've not even put a disc in my PS4. So why the hell would I buy a disc version of the PS5? Like, no, like I'm not going to worry about it.
$100, yeah.
But the only thing is what's available. If like the only thing that's available is the disc drive, I'll spend the extra $100 to get the disc drive. It doesn't bother me that much. It's there, whatever. It's a little bit bigger, but if it's available, I will go with the digital version. I was really impressed. I mean, they really didn't give you that much other than the date and the price. But I was impressed that they were able. I did not think they were going to be able to come in under Microsoft, because from what I've heard, well, actually, I have heard that the Xbox Series X is better on performance. But anyways, or on the specs, or whatever you want to say. But just everything that I saw from PlayStation, I felt like it was going to be $100 more. And just come out this news and say, like, it's actually, if I get the version that I want, it's going to be $100 less than the Xbox. So I'm excited. Like, that is a system that I am going to buy now. With a recent showcase, like, I was like, okay, it's done. My decision's made. I think I said it on the last episode. I'm getting the PS5. Didn't pre-order one. We'll kind of talk about that, or we won't.
We'll get into that just a little bit.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead. I'll throw it to you. What do you think about the news?
I think that $399 price point for the digital is a grand slam. I mean, you're absolutely right. Most people, not most people, but a lot of people this day and age want to go discless anyway. They want to go all digital. People are downloading games anyway. You don't have to go wait in line at stores or wait for it to get delivered. So by undercutting the Xbox that extremely, like $100 cheaper for the version that a lot of people want anyway, is mind-blowing to me. Like, that is such a smart move. I don't know the details of like the cost buildup and stuff like that. Like, how much, I know in the past, every console maker has sold one of their consoles at one point at a loss. And I'm really curious to see if that $399 for the digital version, because a disc drive does not cost $100. Now, maybe, finding a way to fit it in there and all that stuff, that's a little more of a challenge, but it blows my mind they're able to shave $100 off it for the digital. So I'm with you. I think it's an absolute grand slam. I do agree that launching the same day, I'm pretty sure two consoles haven't launched on the same day since it was the GameCube and PlayStation 3, I think, launched on the same day.
No, because the GameCube was in college.
Yeah, and I thought the PlayStation 3 was too. I could be.
Xbox and the GameCube were coming out around the same time.
Or maybe those were the two I think that may have launched. Because I remember one other system, it may have been the PlayStation 2, had already been out for a year or 2 years. And then the Xbox and GameCube launched like at the exact same time.
I remember GameCube my freshman year of college. So that had to be around the Xbox. The original Xbox.
I think you're right on that one. So I just had my generations a little mixed up there. But no, it's like, and
because PlayStation 3 and GameCube, I swear,
released
a whole generation
apart.
Further
apart. Yeah. So, but no, I do agree that I think it would be absolute chaos in order to release them both on the same day. I think retailers would have a nightmare with that, with people coming in, trying to keep it all straight, trying to keep all the pre-orders straight. And, you've started to touch on this, and it's a great time to jump to it, I think. The pre-orders are gone in general. Mm-hmm. Like, they're almost impossible to find. Like, every now and then, if you're subscribed to some alerts, you'll get one. But, it sounds like both Sony and Microsoft had some issues with the pre-orders, though. Like, Sony's issue was, it seems like some people got alerted, but others didn't. So that caused some chaos. And then Xbox, it seemed like the store sites had a really hard time staying online just because of traffic. So not a great pre-order process for either company. And I get a lot of people are still stuck indoors. So like consoles are going to be harder to come by. And I especially think the way people have seen how hard it is to find a Switch right now. Granted, the Switch is a lot cheaper, but I think people might also be looking at an opportunity to snatch these up and turn around and flip them for an extra $100, like you're seeing with the Switch.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't fucking hate those
people
too. I agree completely. I hate that shit. I think it's I get it. It's free market economy. I get it. But it is absolutely annoying. But I did not get a pre-order. I didn't even look into pre-ordering. Like I said, I was able to walk into the store and get a Switch on release date. I'm going to try to do the same thing. I'm still leaning Xbox just because I'm already paying for the Game Pass, so it'll be nice to have. But I agree. Like, PlayStation's pricing, release date is all really cool. And I did and I'm not sure if I'll take advantage of this. I like their announcement of the PlayStation Plus collection. It was a group of about 18 games from the PlayStation 4 era that if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, that's a tough one to spit out, then you get these games for free. And it's got God of War, Bloodborne, Uncharted, Persona, The Last of Us. Like I said, 18 games in total. What did you think about the PlayStation Plus collection?
I like it. I didn't look at all 18 of them, but I think a lot of those games, like if I wanted to play them, I have already played them. So the remaining games, I'm sure there's one or two in there that I haven't played that I will play because I will be getting PlayStation Plus. I'll probably be getting Xbox Live because you heard my whole story about how they screwed me over because I wanted to play Forza 5, then I couldn't because I didn't have the subscription. So got it anyways, got it for 3 months, forgot to renew, so I renewed again at 3 months. It was a little bit extra money, and I've had my whole spiel about
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
That's exactly how they get you. You forget about it, and then the renewal comes up, you're like, damn it, and then you still don't change it, and again, in 3 months, it's probably going to happen to me. But I thought it was cool. Like, here's, because everybody's been bitching about backwards, not everybody. A lot of people have been bitching about backwards compatibility, and you know where I stand on it. Like, play that game on the old system. You don't need to be playing, like, the PS5 is there for the specs and to blow you away with 4K gaming at 60 frames per second. You don't need to be playing PlayStation 2 games on it. Like, that defeats the whole fucking purpose. Like, I don't know, get an emulator or something, whatever.
Exactly.
But this is kind of like, backwards compatibility in a way.
It is.
Here's some games from the PS4 that were really good. We're going to give you for free as long as you only pay. I think it's $60 right now for PlayStation Plus for the year. I don't know if that's going to change. I think it would stay pretty similar to what it is right now. But
I hope so.
Like I said, I don't know. I not looked at all 18 games. I would think that I've played most of them, so not really something that appeals to me. But I know that it appeals for a lot of people because why? Backlogs. There's a lot of people that do have these games that have simply not got around to them because of their backlogs.
Exactly.
And then, with the pre-orders, I'm the same way. Like, I turned around, like, changed my baby's diaper, even though I'm sure my wife will have something to say. Like, you never change diapers, which is kind of true. I've dropped the ball on that a little bit, I'll admit. But anyways,
it happens.
The one time I was changing a diaper recently, I don't know why I got so lazy on it, but I guess after 3 kids, I was just like, eh. I turned around and the pre-orders were already done. Like, I didn't even know that pre-orders had started, but it doesn't really matter because I probably would not have pre-ordered. I never have pre-ordered a console because I just haven't done it. Like, I don't feel like messing with it, and they're out, and you gotta wait for the website to refresh because the servers are down. Like, there's all these pain in the ass things that happen with pre-orders. And they had a problem this time around. That's not really shocking. It seems like they have a problem every generation when the systems come out. So I'm just like you.
High. That demand is high right up front. Yeah. I mean, people want the next new shiny thing. So,
but I'm like you. I'm probably gonna go I am going to go somewhere day one, early in the morning. If I can get one, awesome. If not, whatever. I don't need one day one. I would just like in the first week or two, which if I don't get day one, who knows if that'll happen. Yeah. But here's where I'm really stuck with the whole thing. It's like I want to buy it at Best Buy so I can put on my Best Buy card and get 0%. But I'm not going to tell people which store I went to, but there's that one place I went to buy the Switch that had the most Switches in the state that morning. I'm like, you know what? That Best Buy financing looks really good, but that Target really came through to Nintendo Switches and how many units they have. So I'm like, ooh, I might have to go check out that Target and get one. But same as you, didn't pre-order, go in the store day one, see if I can pick it up early in the morning. And I'm not going to go sit in line for 2. I got shit to do, man. Like, I'm going to go there like an hour early. And, stay in line. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
It's not the end of the world. You're not going to camp out for it.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
No, and another part of the PlayStation 5 showcase was a couple new games obviously most of it was the big news was the price point. The big news was the release date, all that stuff. We got some more gameplay footage for like Spider-Man, Miles Morales, all that stuff. But they also gave us our first looks at Final Fantasy 16 and the Harry Potter game, Hogwarts Legacy. And I don't think either of those franchises really appeal to you, right? You're not a big Final Fantasy or Harry Potter person, are you?
No.
I didn't think so. I haven't really played a Final Fantasy game in quite a while either. Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy, and I kind of want to touch on this. I really want to touch on this because I'm kind of going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. That's not in the outline, but that's fine. But yeah, because we've never done that before. Right?
Yeah. And I never got into Harry Potter, so you're on your own on this one.
Well, so I'm excited for the game. The game looks really cool. I've enjoyed the books. I've enjoyed the movies. I know millions of people have. Something I'd kind of totally missed was there's a lot of backlash against the Harry Potter author right now. Yeah. The last couple of years, J.K. Rowling, there's been a lot of backlash because she's apparently been very outspoken against transgender, transsexual people. Mm-hmm. And of course, that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I mean, just anytime you're discriminating against a group, I don't care what the group is, you're discriminating against a group. I mean, that's a bad look. And it's not a good thing at all. So I've been reading here since I saw that reveal trailer for the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game, a lot of back and forth online about people who are like, yes, I've loved Harry Potter, but I don't want to buy this game because I don't want to support J.K. Rowling and her views. Yeah. You know, and she's very vocal about it, it seems like, on Twitter, on things like that.
What's the point of that? Like, I think that
I have no idea.
That's somebody to me that feels like they became too powerful. Yeah. And they just think that their opinion really matters that much when it doesn't. Like, right. Like, there's no reason, like, I mean, if you do feel that way, you shouldn't feel that way in the first place. Agreed. But if you do, just keep it to yourself. Like, there's no, like, get rid of the hate. Like, there's no place for it, you know?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, of course, a lot of people are still like, they love the books, they love the movies, they want to play the game. And I totally get that. I kind of fall in that camp. I still watch the movies every now and then. And the game does look interesting. And for me, I guess I'm kind of one of those people who can separate the creation from the creator.
I'm the same.
And it's just because I think of it too. It's just like people who enjoy like Chris Brown's music or Michael Jackson's music. You know, they weren't good people, but they had good music. Yeah. Or you look at, I'm a big wrestling fan, like Chris Benoit was an amazing wrestler. Turns out not such a great human being, you know, at the end of the day. And there's countless cases of that. Yeah. Where I think if you can separate your appreciation for the creation while not still supporting the views of the creator.
I'm in the same way. Like, like you said, Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, like Chris Benoit, they're all pieces of shit. Yeah. Floyd Mayweather, too. You can throw him in there.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, we're able to separate them. Like, I do like Michael Jackson's music. I do like Chris Brown's music. But I don't like them as people. But I'm just like you. I'm able to separate those things because, I don't know, it's just like one, like it's entertainment. Like, I'm just focusing. Like, I'm not like listening to them because I want them. I understand that they are a role model, but to me, I don't look at them like that because I can look at them and be like, "You're a piece of shit." I don't have to be like, you're not a role model. Like, I don't have to follow what you do, but I can still like, enjoy your art.
And that's what I hope people still like do enjoy Harry Potter. I mean, like the movies and the books brought joy to a lot of people. I think the video game will be massively popular. I know some of that money will unfortunately go to J.K. Rowling, of course, even though she's not a great person. Yeah. But, it's one of those things where like, if you can kind of compartmentalize that, it's like, do what makes you happy still. I mean,
I think we should say right here that like, we're able to separate them, but we also understand people that aren't able to separate them.
For sure.
Like, absolutely. People like to lump them together, and that's completely okay, too. It's 100%. Just like, how you like to go about things, and people are different.
Yeah, especially if you're a member of the group that she's talking out against. If you're a transgender or something like, if that's your stance, we 100% support that. Like, I mean, if you're like, I'm with you, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't really know if I'll get either the, I know we kind of started talking with Final Fantasy and Harry Potter, but that's something I'd been seeing in the news here a little bit. So I wanted to make sure we touched on that and I just wanted to kind of hash that out a little bit. I think it's an important thing. And different people have different views in terms of supporting somebody like that. Yeah. And I completely get that. So, but that was,
and they're right to those opinions and those feelings that they have.
Exactly. That was a very long-winded
I was talking more about the people, not JK. I think she should just shut her damn mouth.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. But, so the PlayStation, of course, was the big thing in the news with the release date and the prices and everything. But Microsoft wasn't about to let the PlayStation steal all the spotlight. So they announced a $7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax Media, which is the parent company for Bethesda, which is one of the biggest game developers in the world right now. They're responsible between developing and publishing. They're responsible for The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Dishonored, Wolfenstein, Prey, and a bunch of other franchises. The Elder Scrolls probably being the biggest one. I mean, you've seen how Skyrim has been absolutely everywhere. So I think this is an absolutely major shift and a huge acquisition. But kind of what were your thoughts and feelings when you saw this announcement?
I mean, it's about damn time because we've been talking about how Xbox needs to buy up these studios or gaming entities, I guess you could say, and start having more exclusive games because that is the one place where PlayStation is kicking their ass right now. So
for sure.
Now I don't know if they needed to buy something that was $7.5 billion, but it's Microsoft. They have the money. They can do that. I think I don't know if it's good necessarily for the gaming industry because I think my opinion would be, hey, make all these games exclusive because that's where you're getting your butt kicked right now. But we've been saying this is what they needed to do. They need to buy up some studios and they need to get these games solely on their system and on a PC. So I think this is a huge deal for them. Like I said, keep the games exclusive. Like I know, like you could kind of do the time exclusive where we'll have it for, I don't know, 6 months or a year, and then we'll give it to PlayStation. No, don't do that, because then people with PlayStation will be like, you know what, I'll just wait a year instead of going to get your system. You gotta have the exclusives, so people have to buy your system to play those games. So don't do that timed exclusive shit. People will just wait. Because why? Because of the damn backlog again. People got games to play, and they had time that they can wait because, like I said, they gotta go through all these other games. Oh, I can get to that in a year, so no timed exclusives. Don't even think about it. Bad idea. But they can also get a fee though if they gave it to Sony. No. Stay full exclusives. Like, keep these games on your system. But it kind of, I don't know. I see, I'm getting both systems, so I guess it really doesn't matter for me.
Yeah, for us, it doesn't matter a whole lot in terms of exclusives because we'll eventually be batting for both teams. We'll have both systems. So
yeah, but like, I mean. I thought you were going to keep on going.
I can. I can jump in if you want me to.
Yeah, that's fine, because I kind of lost my train of thought right there.
It's all good. No, because I think it's a massive deal. And I was kind of expecting something like this at some point. Because they bought up some of the smaller studios. They bought up like Obsidian and a few of those other smaller studios. I was really waiting for because they've got just boatloads of money. It's Microsoft. I mean, they are not hurting in any way, shape, or form for money. Even if they don't come out ahead on this investment, it's still it's not going to hurt them long run at all. Whereas, $7.5 billion would sink a lot of freaking companies. Yeah. But I look at the lineup of games though. I kind of rattled them off real quick there, but I love the Elder Scrolls games. I mean, ever since Morrowind, when I got into them, Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim have all been amazing. I've enjoyed Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. I never played Fallout 4, but I enjoyed 3 and New Vegas. The Doom games that they've been coming out with here the last few years have been fantastic and very well received. Like Dishonored is a randomly really fun franchise that I've really enjoyed. And the Wolfenstein games, I've absolutely loved both the New Order and New Order and New Colossus. I can't remember the two names of them. But, so I look at these franchises and I'm like, as if I wasn't already leaning towards the Xbox anyway. But seeing this lineup of games and knowing, I've loved that. I love that. I love that. I'm like,
they're not going to come out right away though either.
Correct. And that's the big thing. We don't even know when the next Elder Scrolls. Doom just had one come out this year. I haven't heard shit about, the guys that make Dishonored have been making that Deathloop game that is actually going to be a PlayStation timed exclusive. So that is one thing I did like. Even though Microsoft bought them, they already came out and said they're honoring the PlayStation exclusive agreements for Deathloop and Tokyo Ghostwire. Yeah. Deathloop really interests me. I don't know a whole lot about the Tokyo Ghostwire, but I thought that was a nice move, I guess. I mean, it's hard to think of these companies being nice and playing nice with each other. But to honor those agreements... I don't think
that's being nice. I think that's legal terms. There's something legally in there where they could not do that.
I bet that would have been a big legal battle. You're absolutely right. But it makes for good publicity to come out and say, hey, we're good with that. Because Microsoft could probably fight that and throw enough money at the lawyers to make it work. But I am really curious to see, because I'm with you. I generally agree. I think they should keep these exclusives. I think they should make all these franchises, Xbox and PC, because let's be honest, if they're going to PC too. But I think it would be such a good coup for them to get the Elder Scrolls, to get Fallout, and
is it good for gaming?
And that's where some people argue that exclusives in general are not good for gaming, but I like having exclusives. Yeah. I do think it
gives you a reason to buy both systems.
Well, there's that, but I do think it drives some creativity. It drives some innovation. I think the competition is a good thing. I mean, so for me, I like having exclusives, whether, yes, there would probably be a lot of PlayStation owners who were pissed off that Elder Scrolls 6 doesn't come to the PlayStation, but it'd be such a feather in their cap to be able to say, we have the Elder Scrolls games, we have the Fallout games, but I do get Microsoft could still make an absolute shit ton of money just licensing them to Sony. Release them on your Xbox and let them release on the Sony as well, and you get a cut of every single damn sale on the PlayStation. I mean, they got to recoup that $7.5 billion.
That's some pimping going on right there, man.
Right. It really is. It really is. So as much as I'd like to see them exclusive, because I do think, and not just because I'm a bit of an Xbox fanboy over PlayStation, and I try not to let that dictate too much, but I do think that having that it makes them a little more competitive. It makes, or a lot more competitive with some of these titles. And it would render a lot of that, oh, PlayStation exclusives are so much better. It could render a lot of that argument now moot. So
yeah.
I would rather, I want both systems to have amazing exclusives.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Like Nintendo. I mean, we get amazing exclusives from Nintendo almost all the time. It's been kind of a slow year this year.
But that's all they have, but it still works. At least for us, it does.
It still works for us. So I'm excited by the news. I think it is a major announcement for gaming. And I'm really curious to see how they end up handling, licensing the games out or making them exclusive. So, but another, we've obviously spent a lot of time talking about game news, and another place that we usually get news on either upcoming games or upcoming services, things like that, is the annual the Game Awards put on by Jeff Keighley.
Close enough.
Close enough. So he's an interesting character in and of himself. But this year they did come out recently and announce that it is going to happen. It's going to happen on December 10th. It's going to be online only, of course, because I believe in an interview the guy said, we're not looking to put 10,000 people in one place right now.
Yeah.
So at least they're being smart about it. But like I said, we usually get a lot of announcements around the Game Awards, but I think we're getting all our announcements, leading up to the release of the new consoles.
Yeah.
But I do always like seeing the competitions for like the games of the year and things like that. And I know we haven't played a ton of new 2020 games, but if you kind of just sit back and think about it, what would be some of your favorite 2020 games so far this year?
Man, I didn't know if you were ever going to stop talking, to be honest with you. Like, you were going on for a while. But, man,
Sorry
for me,
that.
2020 is all about Ghost of Tsushima. Like, yeah, The Last of Us Part 2, you've heard our opinions on The Last of Us Part 2 a little bit. We're going to talk about more if Red ever decides to finish the game.
One of these days.
But for me, The Last of Us Part 2, yes, it was a good game, but overall, it was a little bit of a disappointment in what we were expecting. But like I said, good game, just didn't live up to what I wanted it to be. But now, Ghost of Tsushima, and I know you've not played this game yet, Red.
I have not.
This game is creeping up my top 10 list. Like,
Woo,
I say, like, there's a couple things here and there that were kind of bugging me a little bit. It's a little bit glitchy. Like, I wish they would have, it's not too bad. It doesn't annoy you, but there's some points that, like, you kind of, I wish they would have polished off a little bit. Yeah, and then some of the side quests were like, dragging on a little bit. So there for a little while, I got just a little bit down the game. And man, I've gone back to the main story. And we've talked about this in open world games where you kind of hit that lull. You get back to the main story and it kind of gets you going again.
It really does.
This game, I mean, the main story is really getting good. The world looks beautiful. The combat is so much fun. Like, you're changing stances, you're doing different moves, and like, it's good. It's very good. It's almost all sword fighting. You got bow and arrow, but you use it a little bit, but mostly sword fighting. And like I said, I'm already thinking this is going to be a top 10 game for me. Now, as I said, Witcher 3 is my favorite game. What comes after that, I really don't know. I've never really, I don't have the time to sit there and think about it. And my list is always constantly changing as games evolve more and more. But, I know which games go in my top 10. Now, I might have 12 or 13 of them that says in my top 10. But what I'm trying to say is it's top 10 quality. It's like that good of a game. And Ghost of Tsushima, man, like, it's climbing up that ladder. Like, it's probably going to be a top 10 game, maybe higher. Like, it's very, very good. So for me, that would be my game of the year, because just like, take away how much I like it, because obviously there's some bias. I like it. I want to win game of the year, just like I did God of War when it was up against Red Dead Redemption 2, and Red Dead Redemption 2 was taking every single award at the beginning, but God of War came in, stole it at the end, but
it got the big one.
yeah, but like, oh man, I'm enjoying Ghost of Tsushima so much. It's probably the most, I would say The Last of Us Part 2 is a very beautiful game, but Ghost of Tsushima is very close. The combat is good. The story is really good. Just everything's coming together so well. Yeah, there's a glitch here and there that kind of bothers you, doesn't annoy you though, but for me, that would be my pick for game of the year. Now, I know you've not played a lot of games this year, but do you have anything you want to say on that? Like, what's your favorite game this year?
Well, I mean,
that was released in 2020.
That's the big thing. I mean, can I count Mario All-Stars 3D?
I don't know.
I don't think we can, because those are like just straight ports. They're not like the
they weren't remakes. I know that.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
Because they didn't fix the controls in Mario Sunshine. I never played before, but I sure shit know they didn't fix the controls in the updated one.
Hey, and they didn't fix the camera in Mario 64 either.
So.
But no, I would go. I mean, almost by default for me, it has to be The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know I haven't beat it yet, but I'm about 30 hours in. It's a beautiful game. The gameplay is awesome. I know the story goes some directions that not everyone agrees with, and that includes me. And the characters aren't, quite my favorite, especially when you hold them up compared to the first one.
Yeah.
But like to me though, the gameplay, the graphics is all still very beautiful. The story is still good by video game standards.
Yeah.
It's just the bar set by the first one was so stupidly high.
Agreed.
And I know we'll have an episode down the road where we spend a lot more time on The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2. But for me, I mean, almost by default, that has to be my game of the year. Plus, it was such a critical success. I mean, it's I think it's sitting at like a 93 or some shit on Metacritic, which is insane. It's really damn good. So I could definitely see that winning it. I do hope to play Ghost of Tsushima by the end of the year. My favorite multiplayer game that I've played this year, though, and there's no chance in hell this gets any Game of the Year awards or anything, but Streets of Rage 4 has been an absolute blast. Me and the girlfriend have been playing it on Switch quite a bit just throughout the year, and it's a lot of fun. It's just an old school side-scrolling beat-em-up game. Not a whole lot of depth to it, but it's a lot of fun, and it's especially a lot of fun playing it cooperatively with somebody. So for me, like if I know there's usually like a best multiplayer, best esport, all that shit. So like for my favorite like couch co-op multiplayer game would be Streets of Rage 4. But beyond that, I have not played much this year, but there are definitely a lot of games that I think will get nominated just based on the press they got, the ratings, the reviews they got. And so I'm just going to kind of go through a couple of like my predictions of what I think will eventually get nominated. And some of these are going to be games that are already out. And then, of course, as we know, there's still some huge releases, including 2 fucking brand new consoles coming out by the end of the year. So this list might be entirely shit in the next 2 months. But, I mean, The Last of Us Part 2...
Those consoles are already releasing a month before the Game Awards, so I doubt you see much of the new consoles in that show. But
very true, unless somebody has a launch title that just blows the world away. But, I think The Last of Us Part 2, just because it's reviews, the press going into it, the coverage of it, I think that'll get nominated. Ghost of Tsushima is surprisingly doesn't have that good critical reviews, but man, the fan reviews have been exactly what you said. Like your description of how much you love the game and exactly everything you love about it. Yeah. Like the critical reviews kind of had it in like that, solid B, 80 something, 85
Well, I think they were looking
range.
too much at the glitches, like I said. Like there's some parts that just aren't smooth. Like, Nintendo has that smooth quality. This game, there are some points where you're like, you could have polished that a little more. And I think that's where the critics kind of came in and gave it a little bit lower review than I would have.
Yeah, and I get that technical stuff does come in for reviews. But as long as, in my opinion,
it's not annoying. It's just, it's there, you kind of notice it, but so far it's not annoyed me.
It's hard to find an open world game that doesn't have a few of those.
Though. Oh, agreed.
I mean, it is very rare. So, and I think Animal Crossing New Horizons will probably get some love, just because I think it came out. There'd been a lull in new games for a few months before that. It came out at the beginning of people being forced to shelter in place and not leave their homes and all this stuff. And it really seemed to have been massively popular. I know you didn't quite buy into it as much as a lot of people did. I never picked it up because it doesn't seem like my style.
Well, that was all me. Like, I didn't think the game was bad at all. Like, from what I played of it, like, I was like, okay, I can tell that this is a very well-made game. But for me, just a life simulator or any kind of simulator, because I've tried the roller coaster once since then, and that was just like babysitting a theme park. That's exactly what it is. And I was like, you know what? I ain't got time for this shit. I got things to do. But, the Animal Crossing, like, it wasn't for me. I'm not big on life simulators, but playing the game, I was like, okay, this game was, like I said, very well made. So I understand, like, all the good accolades it has gotten.
Yeah. And I think, like, people will remember that. And how much of a success it really was.
It was a great game for the times because it was a game that was very calm, very happy. Yes. And that's what people needed when, like, COVID-19 and the whole shelter in place started.
Right. And then a couple of my other predictions, and these are just total guesses. Like I said, Hades is like every year it seems like an indie game gets a nomination. Just, because usually there is a couple amazing.
Do you think that's on purpose
games.
or is it actually deserved?
I think it's usually deserved based on like some of the reviews I've seen. Like Disco Elysium last year was nominated, and its reviews are amazing. And I bought it. I just haven't played it yet. I've got it on my PC. But like it feels like every year they at least try to be inclusive, because if you just limited it to the AAA blockbusters, it's I get it. Those are the games that get the coverage that most people play, more people play. But I think, recognizing an indie gem every now and then, So I think Hades this year could be that game. Its reviews are sitting up in the 92, 93 territory. It's the same
I'm just thinking of
company.
Celeste right now. And I've played Celeste.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad game. But I think it was last year that was nominated. I was like, it can in no way compare. Yeah, good game. It in no way compares to these other games that are nominated. So it's kind of like, are you all including the indie games? I don't play
Just
a lot of
to throw
indie
them a
games,
bone.
but I, I've said it. I do love the whole indie scene. I love that all these little developers are getting a chance to do what they love. I love that whole thing. I don't play a lot of them, but at the same time, I'm like, are they doing this on purpose, or something, or is it deserved? And a lot of times I don't know because I don't play them.
Exactly. Now, I can say I've played previous games from the company that made Hades. I've played Bastion, I've played Transistor, and they are both really, really solid games. It doesn't have the same, budget, quality, bells and whistles, whatever, as the latest Call of Duty or whatever. But, it's still, they're charming games and they're fun. Yeah. And at least in, Bastion's case, it was like a funny game. You had a narrator the whole time that was pretty entertaining. And then I could see something like Crusader Kings, which is a 3, I should say. It's been a fairly popular franchise, but it's kind of, I feel like it's a little under the radar because it's like a strategy game that crosses generations of a family, a dynasty, basically. And Crusader Kings 3 has been reviewing amazingly well as well. So I could see it getting a little bit of love. But other than those, are there any other games that are out so far? And we'll get into the upcoming games here in just a second, but anything else that's been released, whether you've played it or not, that you kind of predict might make its way onto the list?
Not really. I think Doom Eternal, that came out this year, but I didn't play it. How great of a game was it? I really never looked into it because I never really planned on playing it. But as far as 2020 went, there was not a ton of releases, really. There were some good ones, but there was not a ton. So I didn't even know 2 of them that you even mentioned. So that kind of tells you, I think this year I played a lot of games on my backlog, at the beginning of the year. And, then I played The Last of Us, and now I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima. I tried Animal Crossing, but other than that, I don't remember any big games. So I kind of agree with you right there. But, I said something earlier about the new consoles won't be there in time to be part of the Game Awards. But I remember that Red Dead Redemption 2 was released not that far ahead of the Game Awards. And so... Yeah,
it was only about a month.
Yeah, and so that, so let's bring in some of this, well, not new generation, but games that are coming out later on this year is what I'm trying to say. I'll get there eventually, man. You just got to be patient with me. You just got to give me some time, all right? But anyway, some games that could get nominated later in the year, coming out very late, but still have a chance. Cyberpunk 2077, which I'm excited about this game. And I'm excited about because of who makes it. The concept, so far, I don't really care for all that futuristic, in an open world game, I'm more of a sword and shield guy. And I'm not really big on the guns in the open world game. And then you put the whole future aspect into it. If this game wasn't made by CG Projekt Red, I don't even know if I'd be looking into it that much. But
I'm with you,
since it is by CD Projekt Red, I am going to buy it, and it is probably going to be amazing, and it probably will blow me away. But some other games, I'll let you talk about these. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and also the Demon's Souls remake. These are all games we could see nominated at the Game Awards. Do you agree?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And Spider-Man Miles Morales, even though I know it's kind of being advertised as more of a spin-off, like a Uncharted Lost Legacy kind of thing, it still looks beautiful. And if it's still a full-length release...
That's the question. Is it a full-length game?
And that's the big question, and no one knows until it comes out. So, but it looks gorgeous. And the original Spider-Man nailed the mechanics so well and the story. So if Miles Morales can do that, and it's got the publicity now that I feel like the first Spider-Man didn't really have. I mean, we've talked about before, especially on the episode where we actually just talked about Spider-Man. It kind of snuck up on a lot of people. And I think Miles Morales this year is getting put out there front and center as the showcase launch title for the PlayStation 5. So I think this year it's got that buzz, it's got that visibility. It ain't sneaking up on anybody. When you're a launch title for a new console. Right. And I hope it's not. I hope it's an amazing game. Agreed. So I could see that getting some love. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I just know the last few Assassin's Creeds I don't think have even made the nominations. I think when you have a franchise like that, it's a little harder to get that kind of recognition. Because they're the same fucking game,
just in a different location.
Right, exactly. And I think some people do get a little...
one of them. I probably shouldn't say that.
I do think people do get a little burnt out on it, and if they don't refresh the cycle enough, then people just like you said, it's a new same game, new skin. And then the Demon Souls remake, Demon Souls doesn't get the same love that like the Dark Souls games that it spawned.
Yeah.
Because those are massively popular, and they've made From Software a household name. But just Demon Souls was always a little more under the radar, and it seems like when you hear about the Soulsborne games, like it started with Demon Souls, but Dark Souls is when they finally started getting the publicity. So I think Demon Souls getting remade and being at least in the launch window for the PlayStation 5 will get it a lot of traction. People really love From Software now. I mean, they won Game of the Year last year with Sekiro, whatever it was called.
Mm-hmm.
So they, like, with them being on the radar, and we saw with Resident Evil 2 remake last year that, remakes can get some love if they're substantially different enough and upgraded enough. We joked about Mario All-Stars because those aren't fucking remakes. You're exactly right when you said that. So those are kind of my upcoming games, along, like you said, along with Cyberpunk, that I think will definitely be looked at pretty hard for a nomination. So, we've talked about news so damn much, or we've been talking about specific games the last few episodes here. I'm glad you brought up a topic that's just kind of a fun, kind of off the beaten path type topic about actual gameplay that you wanted to talk about a little bit. And that's like when a game slows down and just really lets you kind of take in the scenery a little bit. Like maybe you're just walking from one place to another at more of a leisurely pace. Maybe it's a kind of a cutscene type thing, or like a half cutscene where maybe you're controlling the guy, maybe you're not, but there's not much you can do. But you really get to look at the details of the world. So my question is, what kind of prompted this? Was it a specific moment in a game, or is it just something you thought about? I've assumed it had to be. So.
I didn't even remember this text. So like when I saw this on the outline, I was like, I don't even remember saying this, but like it kind of eventually, like I've kind of remembered more and more. But I don't know exactly where it happened, but I know that it was in Ghost of Tsushima, because there's some points like where you're walking alongside somebody, or you're riding your horse, and you can only ride at a certain speed. And like it slows the game down, because everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, but most players go through a game pretty fast. And what I mean by that is you're not walking through a game, like you're running. And if you're not running, you're probably riding a horse. If you're not riding a horse, you're probably fast traveling. Like you're going to areas quickly some way. Yep. And I just love those cutscenes. And not every game has it, but like a cutscene where like, it doesn't look like a cutscene. Like, and God of War did great at this, where it was just like one continuous shot. Like, they brought it together very well. And so you get to those points where it's a like I said, a semi-cutscene, like, you're semi-playing, and like, you're just walking around, you're moving very slowly, and you get to look at the world around you. And when it happened, I was just like, oh my God, I love that, because even if we go through games slow, we go through them fast, if that makes sense. I was saying, like we travel fast. I guess what I'm talking about here, people, is open world gaming, okay? I'm not talking about linear gaming, games. But it's just nice sometimes, like, because you do miss a lot of those details, which sucks, because we've talked about this. We take for granted, like, how games are made nowadays. Because we just expect it, because they've evolved so far from when they were in the, the 80s and the 90s. So there's so many cool things that we just don't see. And when a game slows you down like that, whether it be a cutscene, or maybe you're just having a conversation, because Ghost of Tsushima does this, where if you're having a conversation with somebody, they will only let the horse go a certain speed so you can have that conversation. It just it slows down the game, and you can see around you. And I just absolutely love it. And like, I know you've played Witcher 3, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. Have you experienced like this before playing games?
Oh, absolutely. Every now and then. And in The Witcher 3, I'm glad you mentioned it, because like at the very beginning, you're just riding your horse with another one of the Witchers, having, like you said, a conversation. And you can even set the horse to follow the road automatically, so you don't even have to touch the controller, and you can just look around. And I know, like, The Witcher 3 is a beautiful world, but it's also kind of a very dark and like a lot of sickness, a lot of war, like all that stuff. But it lets you take in the world, especially if you're not familiar with the Witcher universe, which a lot of people weren't when they jumped into Witcher 3. Yeah. Yourself included, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So it's like you kind of get to see this world and really take it in. The God of War we mentioned, when you like get into new areas and you're just walking around talking with Atreus, you usually get some beautiful scenes. Every now and then, though, there is an instance where they do it and it's just frustrating as hell. Yeah. And the one that always comes to my mind, the very end, and I've ragged on the end of Mass Effect 3 many times, but
I'm not playing, so don't spoil it too much.
I'm not spoiling it, but there's one point where you're hurt and you're like walking really slowly to the
Yeah.
end goal. And like at that point, it's just not a beautiful area that you're in, and B, it feels like it's just dragging out the suspense of the ending.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like artificially padding that length, and it's just, I get it. Your character's hurt, so they move slow. But in this case, there wasn't a whole lot of the world to look around and take in this particular area. So I'm every now and then it is annoying as hell, but man, when a game nails it, it is a great mechanic. So I'm really glad you brought that up. But once again, I think our time has come up here. We, as usual, we flew through our 45 minutes a lot quicker than we.
We went over 45 minutes, but still, like you said, it flew. It did.
So let's go ahead and wrap up. All the links you'll see are going to be down in the description below. You can support us on Patreon or PayPal. If Patreon's kind of a recurring thing, PayPal's more of a one-time. If you can't support us financially, we totally understand. Go and leave us a review, leave us a rating. Give us that 5 stars. It does help with being able to find us on our listings. So even if you don't like us, we still appreciate a 5-star review. We don't mind if you lie about it.
Definitely.
And we do have 2 websites out there. We have 2guysplayingzelda.com and tgpzgaming.com. And on both of these sites, we have great gaming merchandise, Zelda merchandise. Now, they are affiliate shops, so we may get a little cut if you buy anything through them, but definitely check them out. Lots of really fun like gamer apparel, accessories, things like that. So,
and I'm really starting to work hard on the TGPC gaming one. Like we got some new.
Yeah.
I just became an affiliate we became an affiliate for. Well, I'm doing all the work. It seems like that's all right. That's all right. I choose that, so don't worry about that. So, but that's kind of an asshole thing to say because I'm like, oh, I'll do it all. Then I'm like,
I've known you for how many years,
man.
I've known you for how many years? I know you're an asshole. It's fine.
But anyways, I am working on building up that website. We just became an affiliate for Hot Topic and something called Entertainment Earth, which I never heard of, but they got a lot of cool video game stuff. So
good deal.
Like I said, I am getting back to that website. There are a lot of cool products we're going to put on there. There's also a newest section if you want to see them, but that's very cool, and we're going to be continuing to put work in it. So check them both out, but definitely check out TGPC Gaming. Anyways, we got a YouTube for 2 Guys Playing Zelda and TGPC Gaming. Our 2 Guys Playing Zelda is the big one. It's how we started, over 10,000 subscribers. We got Zelda rankings, theories, opinions, walkthroughs, let's plays, whatever. So go check that out. Discord, man, we have if you are going to go 2 places to check us out on Twitter because we're very active on Twitter, and check us out on Discord because we have a blast talking Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, beer, sports. You name it, we're probably talking about because, man, the conversation sometimes, I don't understand how it gets to like where we go, but it gets there somehow. And then also social media. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. We're still on Facebook, but I wouldn't really waste your time going there. But anyways, that's the end of this episode. Had a blast actually getting away from a game and just talking the industry. But we will see you on the next episode.